Welcome to Conscious Gatherers. My name is Beverly Thompson, and I'm here with AJ Royce.
Good evening.
All right. Well, today's date is February the 21st, 2023, and this is episode 88. How about that? We've had, since 2 weeks ago, a lot of stuff has gone on worldwide. Stuff, I don't know if you want to call it stuff. A lot of things have happened, and oh my God. So our discussions today, and one of the things that came up was, does this world make sense? We kind of laughed, but didn't laugh, because it just, as we've mentioned in past episodes, it's crazy times.
Yeah, so, I believe so.
Yeah. And then, Royce, you said, do you remember?
What?
You said, what are we going to do about it?
Oh, yes.
And to me, this, what we're going to talk about today has everything about this world making sense. Kind of. It's like, what? How many times have we said, what? What do we, what do you believe? Is this the white hats, or is this the black hats? Is this good, or is this bad? And what really is going on? And then we get all these different stories from lots of different sources. And as we said in previous podcasts, it's time to use your gut, whatever your gut feel is.
Yeah, that inner sense of intuition. We've got it built in. Sometimes we need to exercise it a bit to hone in on how it feels. That's okay. Just do it. That's the thing. Do it.
Yeah, and trust yourself.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, I don't know if this is, I'm making this stuff up, and all these other excuses that we make. And yeah, you are, because that's how this world is. We make things up and they become our reality. So, does this world make sense? And you start looking at it like that. Indeed, it does. So we're going to get more into that and share with you some things that have come forth to both of us and a friend that was here earlier. So, all right, we'll get on with it. This world makes sense. All right. A few days ago, I was tuning in and really felt a lot lately to tune in a lot, even though I didn't write down much. But it was like this feeling coming to me to do so. It was difficult to watch TV, which I hardly watch any TV at all. Watch singers, actually, some inspiring things, because some of the other stuff is like, it's just not interesting to me anymore. And so that may be happening to a lot of you that are listening to this podcast, because what you see on TV is maybe not interesting anymore.
May I interject something?
Yes.
I believe I called you several days ago and told you that I had just gotten, it came very clearly to not watch the news because of frequencies being embedded, and we absorb those frequencies. And I made the mistake the other day of watching the news, and it keyed me up, made me very angry, very mean, acting out. And so I got to see exactly what I was talking about. You don't want to be coerced by frequencies to act out. So you may want to give that some thought, use your own discernment. And now I'm not saying to be ignorant of the news. That's not what I'm saying at all. Be aware of what's going on around you and around the world. But when it comes to sitting in front of what my mom would call the boob tube and just being glued there, absorbing whatever is being directed towards you, you may want to give some extra thought to that.
So what you were getting, that there was a frequency that was embedded in the programming. Now, I don't know if the news people knew that or not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter because I've
You
felt it.
Yeah. So if it makes you angry, turn it off, walk away. Just think about that. You can know what's going on without getting so attached to all that is going on.
Yeah, and it wasn't really because of the story that was being broadcast. There was something else in there that was making me react, and so I keyed in on it and I stopped watching.
Yeah. Wow.
And calmed down.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Ready to go on a little bit? All right. The other day I felt that something was getting ready for something really, really big. And so here's what I got out of that. Information will be straight and to the point. No hiding, guessing, secrecy, lying. All is and will be displayed. This is what's going on in the world. This will be done in segments. No stone will remain unturned. And we talked about that. That's the name of our last podcast. And then I heard real clearly, this is the apocalypse. And if you look up that word, apocalypse, it's more of an ancient meaning because it's been changed. But essentially it means to reveal that which was concealed. So again, to reveal that which was concealed. So I thought, okay. So the truth is coming out, and that will be explained more in just a bit. And then this will start making some sense. All right. Yesterday, I think I was feeling, especially last Saturday, it was like, what in the heck is going on Saturday? So I don't know if any of you listening felt anything on Saturday. I'm like, geez, I was actually fine, but it seems like I was getting these health reports from people or whatever it may be that was like, not so good. And in my book. So I thought, what in the heck is going on? Then yesterday, I think I was really feeling that strong energy. And so I just simply asked, what's happening? And then the answer I got was quite simple. Mixed energetic focus, which says a lot.
Yes.
And it tells you how strong we are as humanity. And we have all these mixed energies, and we're focused in different places. And so it feels like chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like chaos. Smells like chaos. Yeah. It is chaos. All right. I'm going to go on to what received today because I thought it was pretty neat. I got the word waterfalls. I thought, huh? Yeah, one of those moments. And then I heard, life is like a waterfall. When it goes over the cliff, it becomes a swift running river or stream. It eventually goes into a lake or ocean to become part of the bigger whole. See yourselves become larger in your consciousness, or bigger, whatever word you want to use, larger in your consciousness of understanding reality. This earth is a paradise to be found, explored, and enjoyed. Your bounty is unfolding into its grandness. And I've gotten that word grandness, which I shared, I don't know, last podcast or podcast before that the grandness word keeps coming up. All right. Then I heard the irony of this is that most people have yet to see this or see themselves. All will come into focus. So that's not a mixed energetic focus. It will come into focus and coming together. So I think that leads into more of our conversation today, that Royce is going to share with you now.
Okay, that mixing of focuses, and does the world make sense? I'm going to move this over just a little bit. I did a simple little drawing, and so I'm going to try to lead into that so I can help you to understand what it is that I was getting. Every type of energy is a complete unit unto itself, and every energy has a time limit, like every age or timeline has a set limit of time to play out. Thus, we have things like the biblical verse taken from Ecclesiastes, which states, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." And to help us to understand what I have to say, you might wish to get a paper and a pencil and draw just something very simple, a few little things to help you to look at it, to give you the visual. First, I want you to draw like a 1 inch by 1 inch block, like a square, and draw a vertical line going down through the middle of it, and then repeat that same little drawing about an inch or so to the right, a 1 by 1 block with a vertical line going down through the middle. Now go to that first block. On the left-hand side, put a negative, like a negative charge. And on the right-hand side of that little vertical line in the middle, put a positive. And do just the opposite in the next little block. Put a positive on the left-hand side and a negative on the right-hand side. Now these are magnets. And you know that when you have two magnets and you try to put the magnets together, if you have the same polarity facing each other, it will repel. Like if you have the two positive sides, it'll repel. And same thing with the negative, it'll repel. You have to have a negative and a positive for the magnets to come together, to lock together. And to the right-hand side of these two blocks, I want you to put like a 2 inch long vertical line all by itself. And that vertical line is denoting our timeline that we're in right now. These two blocks, these two magnets, are getting really close to the end of an age, to the end of this energy of time. So if you liken these two magnets to the polarity that we see going on in our society, you can relate it to a whole lot of different things. Ideas that people project, opposing ideas on things. The left-hand magnet has the positive facing the positive of the right-hand magnet, so they repel. But there's something else about that right-hand magnet. That will be like the energy of the positive forces on the planet, those things that are for the greater good of everyone, including the planet. And the magnet on the left-hand side denotes just the opposite, those things which are not for the greater good. So you see that magnet on the left, it has the positive facing the positive of the magnet on the right. In other words, it is putting a positive face forward, like it is trying to look like the magnet on the right, but it is not. It is just the opposite, but it's trying to look like the one on the right. It's trying to look like it is something for the greater good, but it's lying. Let me help you understand this. Within everything, there is this inner urge built in that is to be one. And here we are living in an age where we have all of this polarity going on. That which is not one, it is polarized, going in two different directions. It's the magnet pushing away from each other. And so in order for those two magnets to come together, in order for us to put our heads together and act like one civilization, one people, one unit, one of these magnets has to turn around. And I can tell you right now, it's not the magnet on the right. That denotes the greater good. The greater good will never be undone. It's not going to happen. And I can tell you that with great force.
Can I jump in just a moment?
Sure.
Yeah, and when she's talking about right and left, that has nothing to do with politics.
No, nothing to do with that.
Okay.
So it is the magnet on the left, the one that is not for the greater good, that is the one that has to turn around. Something is going to happen, whether it is a single event, whether it's a cascading of many events, something is going to happen. And it could be that it is all of a sudden awakening that happens within that causes our society to turn around. You know, I talked about turning around. I think it was just the last podcast. So it had the left magnet has to turn around in order for those two magnets to be drawn together and to finish the purpose that's built into us to become one. So the magnets will be attracted to each other and locked together. So that's just something to look at, to think about, coming to the end of this age. The closer we're getting to the end of the age, the more active the energies are. And so I thought that was just an interesting little way to help you to think about it. And so I wrote a little something that goes along with this.
Thank you.
Those who are acting out the lies, deceit, and mayhem are but players acting out a part in a play of polarity. The antagonist to the protagonist. And so the play is soon to find its end. The resolve to the last act is approaching. As the credits to the play are viewed and the actors take a bow, a new play begins. Except this time the play will be bigger, expanded, and more beautiful than anything we can imagine. All the actors, the antagonist and the protagonist, will have completed what the play was designed to develop, that being a foundation of understanding, to build a beautiful new world filled with beings who love and understand the fullness of each other and all the life around them. Does it make sense that any of the actors would be left out of this beautiful new world when they played their part so impeccably, no matter which side they were on? This is the question to consider. When all is said and done, the spirit within us that makes us one with the divine spark of life is one, and one it shall remain, unpolarized and undaunted by the untruth of deceit.
Excuse me, beautifully said.
Thank you.
Yeah. You might want to listen to that one again, listeners, because it was really well written, well said, well thought out, all of the above. Yeah. What made me think about the words that I received years and years ago about the great experiment. And the great experiment is over or is ending. And the great experiment is, I'm going to go with what I heard years ago. It's humanity, a part of all that is experiencing duality through the veil of separation. And so we came into this density to understand what it's like to feel separate. And we can see the dichotomies, playing themselves out.
Yeah.
And the separation and all of that is being, some people are on organizations now trying to force on us in a way, but it's up to us to say yes, no. Like you said, there's a frequency through the television. And so you have every right to turn it off or walk away.
Yeah.
So
it's up to us individually.
Yeah. So it's up to you, but realize how that affects you. And
take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah. Unless you like anger.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that doesn't go very far in this world. It is playing itself out. And then and other people are looking at some of these people that are that angry and shaking their head no. We're not going to stand for this crap. That doesn't mean that you can't get angry at certain things.
Yeah.
And I've called names, and we were discussing that today. So and sometimes I take it back, and sometimes I don't. I was like, what in the heck are you guys doing? So when I see something going on. And man, we've been really seeing this play out because we're, it's a lot of it's not making sense. Yet, when you look at it, this play, this movie that you explain, everybody playing their own parts, and you can see how that works with us to get us together.
Yeah, I was on my way here this morning in the car. I was entering onto the highway, and this car, I had just one little slot to get in between trucks, transfer trucks, and there was this car behind me, and all of a sudden they came right up on my bumper and quickly pulled around to my left and jumped into that spot on purpose and just stayed there. There was room for them to go around so that I could grab that slot too. But no, it was done on purpose. And so the first thing that I did was, I called them a name, and then very shortly thereafter, I thought, that was being like a control mechanism to me. Am I going to be controlled by it or not? And I chose not to. So with my consciousness, I apologized, and because I did not want to be called that name myself, and so I took it back and wished them well. And I felt so much better. But I did something about it, just like leaving the room when the TV was on. I did something about it. I got out of that energy.
There was somebody else in the room, by the way, so
yeah,
they were watching it, and you didn't want to
so
break there.
When my TV, so I removed myself. So we do have a choice with how we react, and if it's not quite up to our own standards, then do something about that. Take it back.
If it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because you mentioned about not being controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So is it keeping you in that angry, this person went around you? I mean, that to me really says a lot. So it was obviously done on purpose.
Yeah, but I think, it's like we create these plays and we get to act them out, and so it's all for us. what's your reaction going to be? And so that's our choice, moment by moment. Gets a little interesting, but when you make those decisions for yourself, then the next decision is, how are you going to feel right now?
Yeah.
Are you going to be happy, or are you going to carry around that anger?
And some people do.
To be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll carry it around to the next person, and that energy can rub off onto somebody else. And the opposite is true.
Yeah.
And it's saying something nice to somebody, and I've seen this play out, like, thank you for being here. And that happened recently, and it was a waitress that a friend said this to. And
did you hear that, Nance?
That was Nance. Her name was Nance. So anyway, Nance was not paying attention to the cashier, but I was watching the waitress who she said this to. I tell you what, I think the waitress was kind of surprised, yet she started smiling, and like nobody's ever told me that before. And then I watched her walk, behind the cashier, smiling the whole way, and how much she appreciated that and how that affected her. And so we did appreciate her. She did a good job. So, and that she was told and thanked for it. So anyway, it's just, okay, what do you want to, what are you going to do about it? It's like, it's like
all it takes is a smile or a kind word, to really change somebody's day.
Yeah. You feel it inside first.
Yeah.
And like you recognize the control mechanism of that person pulling around you. And even though you told me about it, but you said, okay, here's what happened. Here's why I took it back. Because I'm not sure if I would have, it was like, oh, somebody tries to cut you off or barely misses you, driving down the highway, because there is still a lot of angry drivers out there. And you can see how that can be perpetuated or not. So what are you going to let control you or control within yourself?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah. And if I had kept that same angry energy going, I would have attracted that to me. That would have been the magnet, beside me. And it just would have kept on going. But, I chose to go the oneness route.
That's interesting, because you use the word magnet, because that's a good way to visualize it. If you draw those drawings that Royce explained, and you can see how the one is going to start turning. That's not for the highest good of humanity. It'll start turning, and then it will then blend in.
It'll snap together and become one with the other magnet, fulfilling the one that we have built into us.
And you mentioned it's the end of an age, and I got to thinking, and you can correct me on this, it's a 26,000 year cycle around our great central sun, or some call I called it Holy Alcyon. Everything is holy, but Alcyon. So that's not the center of our galaxy.
Yeah, that's
the center of Pleiades.
That's another constellation. But that's okay. Same idea.
Okay, yeah. So the words aren't going to come to me, but it can be explained with the stars.
Astrologically.
Thank you. I thought this is not making sense to me, but you got it. It to me, it's all the same thing, because we are going, we're at the end of this age, and we live our densities, and if you want to call them time capsules. And I had gotten those words years and years ago. That's how time is, and that when you're done with that one timeline or time capsule, then you can take some of that information that goes into the next capsule, into the next.
Yeah, so we take the understanding along with us.
Yeah.
We don't drop that. We take it with us.
And remember, we all volunteer to be here. And we are the courageous ones. And we are wholly within ourselves. We all are divine.
Yeah.
Yeah. even though you're like, you sure? Some people.
Yeah, well, we
are.
We've been scared into not recognizing that, and that's very sad.
Controlled.
Yes.
But we came in here anyway, and coming into this timeline that we're going through right now to make the changes, and we're seeing them.
Yeah, and we both realize that there are people going through some really rough times right now. What we're saying is not meant to belittle what you're going through, but what we're saying is meant to help you, so that next little thing that comes up, maybe you can make a better choice to be proactive for yourself.
Yeah, you say better choice, and that's for you.
Yes, and that's all we do is take responsibility for ourselves. Where we go one, we go all. That starts with this one right here that I'm pointing to, which is me. So if you want the world to be a better place, start with yourself. You be the one to make the first move. You be the first one to smile when you greet somebody in a grocery store or wherever it is. You be the first one to open a door for somebody. Do it. Be the nice person that you are. Be true to that one, that spirit of one within you.
You can see how that energetic influence, talking about what I got yesterday about a mixed energetic focus. And then you're seeing, the chaotic energies throughout the world, be it the balloon scare, UFO, the World War III, the this, the that. Okay, what's true, what's not true? What about that railroad crisis, were there toxins released into the air and into the ground from that railroad? I've heard both. So that it's toxic. Others say no, it's not. It's like, it's amazing. Okay, which is it?
Yeah, we have this at every moment. If you listen to the news, dichotomy, opposites, polarity, through everything.
Yeah. So it's like, what am I supposed to believe? But use that gut feel. Yeah. That's how we started this whole program.
Yeah, discern it all.
Yeah. So does this rule make sense? When you explain it the way Royce explained it, it sure does. Because we're in this play, and everybody's playing their part.
Yeah, they're playing it very well, even though parts of it look really ugly. That's to get our attention and do something about it.
Yeah. Well, back in 2002, I channeled a writing. This is in my first book, Mystery of the Universes. Anyway, the writing's called Book of the Azores. However, I felt like we were in Iceland. So I have no idea why at that point, but maybe some of you do. I have no idea. But it's pretty interesting because I felt that happened years and years ago. And then in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm thinking, it was written for, I think, the end of Atlantis, but we're still playing that out.
Programming.
Yeah. So so I thought, this sounds like it's really important for today. But it says the sun rises on the western ridge, so it tells you we probably flip poles. I could see 3 men standing on a mountain, and I would have to say they were pretty pissed. Okay, but they explained it in through this writing. They said, we watch the boiling sea as the turmoil recedes into the consciousness of the past. Behold, we await a new future, a future that holds promise of a new day and time of total release of the darkness of mankind. We mandate with these writings that humankind will rise to a being again capable of mastering their bodies and surroundings with a degree of perfection associated with their origins. They said, rise, mankind. We will not return to the state of consciousness where there is no respect for our sense of being. Mankind, From this moment on, we must cease from its destruction. We shall move into a world of understanding self. Those of us who have incarnated upon this jewel, where do the programs fail? Let no man or woman again feel the insidious disruptions of life. Did we fail? I guess you can't see me. I'm, or not, because we're seeing the play out, or the movie play out. So man alone must face the consequences of his actions. Where does he begin? The hour has come indeed to turn the tide of destruction. We shall not falter, for our role here on this sphere is a role that must be completed to fulfill the experience of density of the gods. That's us, all of us. It goes on. It said creation must be refined to a consciousness that blends emotion into the physical. And we're really good at that with our physical makeup. Yeah. We shall be as angels in the love of God. We shall inherit the sons of man and the sons of God to bring a balance of maturation in the thought forms of love. The love in the heart of God shall be made manifest in all life, nor no more shall creation be entangled in a web of disguise and deceit. So here we are today. And I felt, when I wrote this writing, I felt it was for years and, thousands of years ago. And then lately I thought, that's today. Today. So anyway, we'll end with that. And do you have anything that you want to?
Yes, I do. I would like to dedicate tonight's podcast to the memory of our beloved friend Bernie, who transitioned to the other side of life yesterday. And our prayers and thoughts go out to the family. But I have gotten to see Bernie since his transition, and he is no longer suffering. Very happy, ready to get on with it. And so that fills my heart with great joy. And so I dedicate this podcast to you, Bernie, with much love. Thank you for staying as long as you did. And I want to thank all of you for staying as long as you can. Thank you for coming here, period, because your presence has been needed here very much. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, our next episode will be March the 7th, and only one more week in this month, and exciting times. If you want to contact Royce or myself or Terry, you can call us and leave your name and number at 864-999-3008. And if you want to listen to our podcast live, the number is right on our YouTube channel, and all the information is there. So I'll just leave it at that. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we send love to each and every one of you, and feel that in your hearts as we feel it in our hearts.
Yes.